welcome to another FaceHammer video. It's me, Russ Facefeel, and in this video I am going to be talking about the new old, and that's not me, that's Warhammer the Old World, what it means for the channel and why I'm excited about it. People who've been listening to us as we're a podcast will probably know, or been around the block a little bit like me, will know that we as a channel cut our teeth with square-based Warhammer. I've been playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle since 4th edition, since I was a kid. I've started competitive playing 6th edition. I've played for England a couple times, the European Championships. I've been at the Masters. I've done a lot of competitive Warhammer play all the way through the editions, even through the end times. There when the world was blown up, yeah, instrumental in early days Age of Sigmar with TO setting up the new game, and fortunate enough to work with the Games Workshop studio, which was great for the General's Handbook and things like that. So we've had an announcement. It was about 4 years ago. So I think it was 4 years ago. So yeah, so 15th of November 19 was this article went up. You won't believe what we're working on, the old world, for reals. And it was a bit like, what? So you're just going to re-release it? That was a long time ago. I think at the time it was still a bit raw with people. A lot of people left AOS, and I will give a shout out to the people who set up the Ninth Age, which was like a fan fiction, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but it was like a fan-based continuation of the old world, which I think is instrumental in the fact that Games Workshop then picked up and decided to carry on because it proved that there is a market. Also, I think Total War Warhammer was massive in convincing GW that there is still a player base out there, and obviously there's a lot of people I think were still playing 6th edition and other editions of Warhammer. I know that some of the people that have been involved in this, they're just passionate about Fantasy Battle, as am I. It's the thing that I harken back to, like when I'm talking to my stepson about Warhammer, who's learning all the stuff for new, and he's asking me questions about Age of Sigmar models. I'm going, oh, it's this, and I'm like, no, that was the old world. Oh no, that was the old world. And in my head, very much the narrative that plays out is an old world narrative. I don't see, although I do like the Age of Sigmar lore, I think they did a great job, considering it was a standing start of creating a world that people have engaged with. And there are a lot of people who are just play Age of Sigmar and they're fans of Age of Sigmar, and that's great. And I've met a lot of people, and in my head I just assume everyone's an old world player, or a fantasy battle player that's moved over. That's not the case. I've met so many people who've never even played square base, so they don't know what overruns are or charge reactions. They panic tests watching your battle standard bearer Fairley's leadership 10 reroll and flee off the board, or the skirmisher double flee mechanic. So you never fought a round of combat in 2.5 hours. Thanks, Dan Heelan, for your many games with Lizardman that really were not very fun. And I played lots of games, and to be honest, like the old world was crazy. There was like Final Trans. Terry used to talk about his regen saves, and 6 dice Final Trans, take stuff off. And it was great. It was crazy. Loved it. Malik, if at the end times, was absolute boss. Ben Curry did so much work with Blood and Glory and the Masters, alongside people like Mark Wildman and that have been around the scenes with that. And obviously Ben Johnson started off on the Bad Dice podcast, and I don't know, like for me, like square-based Warhammer, it was a great scene, a great time in my life going to these events, meeting lots of people. Most of my friends are from this time. So why I'm excited about the old world? Well, to be honest, I'm very excited to, one, get my Tomb Kings back on the table because they are my passion. I love my Tomb Kings. I'm excited to reinvest in the lore and learn about the game again. And it's just an opportunity to play a game which I think is probably going to suit me more than the current state of Age of Sigmar. Now, I do play Age of Sigmar quite prolifically over the years, and I have been playing tournaments, and I've got a team event in a couple of weeks. I've got a new army on the go. It's not like I'm not going to be playing Age of Sigmar. I think the problem for Age of Sigmar, it doesn't really scratch the itch of how I like to play war games, where you get into a sort of to and fro tactical battle on the table, and I find that AOS doesn't really tick that box anymore, because the game's kind of evolved a little bit into this wombo combo army list design, and I think a lot of games are very much predetermined, and I think the game's very clunky to play. There's a lot of admin. So I've been playing other games as well, if I'm honest with you, but what I'm excited about the old world, and hopefully you'll be excited too, is it's a reimagination of the game that I love. I can get my armies back onto square bases, and I've rebased my high elves and my tomb kings back onto rounds. And actually, I'm going to have to rebase my warriors anyway, because they're on squares, but not the right squares, because they've changed the size of the squares. So what does it mean for the channel? So it will not be a surprise to you to know that I will be doing lots of old world content. I plan on going to old world events. I plan on doing armies. I plan on recording that journey and talking about the rules. A lot like we did with Age of Sigmar 3rd edition, where we talked about each section of the rules, how to write a list, how to do this, how to do this. And I think in-depth tactical talk will be more valuable with Warhammer the Old World, because I'm assuming it'll be a bit like Horus Heresy, where the game doesn't change so often that your tactics aren't really to do with what you do on the table. It's this combo with this thing, and then they FAQ the thing, and then that video, or they change the points and the list no longer works. You do a list tech and you say, here's my army, and then they FAQ an ability and they change a point, and then that video or that list is now defunct, and you've got to find a new one, or the handbook changes, or there's so many things moving with Age of Sigmar. It's like you almost need to be up to date, and it's like a roller coaster. And I don't really like fairground rides. I'm not built for speed. And once you're off the coast roller coaster, getting back on is difficult. Trying to run after this speeding thing to grab on and cling on for dear life, let alone climb into the driving seat. And I think some people, they've got the energy and they like to cycle their armies and churn through. I don't really like that. I like to be competitive, and the problem I've got at the moment is to do a nice hobby army and be competitive is either costing loads of time and money between events, or it's just not really possible. I've got plenty of Age of Sigmar armies I've played like one event with, and they've sat in a cabinet gathering dust. I think for me, it's just hit a bit of a realization that I need to change how I approach Age of Sigmar, which is more kind of casual, because I don't really care about competitive AOS, and in terms of being good at it, I just think that I do go to competitive events, and that's how I play. So it's not like I play at clubs or anything. So basically that's my hobby. So I need to make sure I can carry on enjoying events. So I'll be more sort of hobby focused, trying to find armies that I find fun to play with. But I tend to just go to like silly monster mash lists to find my enjoyment, because what I would call traditional tactical armies just don't, they just get bogged down with admin, and you don't finish your games. And I think it's a games design issue. So hopefully with the old world, it'll be a little bit slower paced. Content will have a little bit more longevity. I can add a lot of insight because of my experience, and I'm really excited about it. So if you are excited about Old World as well, then keep it on this channel. I'm going to do a follow-up video to this, which is talking about the story so far. They've just dropped an article today with the rules, so I'm going to talk about that, and hopefully going forward, and the release I think is early next year, they said on the stream, so hopefully it's early 2024, and there'll be plenty of content on the FaceHammer channel for you for Warhammer the Old World. Now, it doesn't mean that we won't be doing AOS content. I'm still going to cover AOS. I'm still going to be doing my hobby blog on my Dragon Army. Sorry, Jaws players, I've changed my mind. And talking about my experience at the team event I'm going to in November, and doing other content as well, and have some guests on, talk about army lists. So it's just, it's not list stopping. It's just that the channel's going to diversify a little bit, and there's going to be some old world content on here for you. So hopefully that gets you excited. It gets the juices flowing, and if you're like me, you're really excited about getting those square bases, ranks and flanks, overruns, panic tests, all that good stuff. So yeah, tune in and subscribe if you want to get notified on So yeah, tune in to our videos and hit the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with our latest releases. And thanks very much for watching this. I know it's just a small video of me saying I'm excited, but hopefully you are too. Let me know in the comments below what you're most excited about the old world, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.